Alright everybody, welcome back to another video here on the Bad Wrestling channel. I am of course Dominic, and once again, it's predictions time. This time for a pay-per-view I bet most of you already forgot was this weekend. It's Clash of Champions 2019. Now before we get into my actual thoughts and predictions, I just want to point out, it is September the 12th, 2019, so it's Thursday. That means the show isn't like tomorrow or the next day or whenever the hell I upload this video. So, that means if something gets changed last minute, like WWE tends to do, it's not my fault, okay? I'm sorry I don't have a winner for R-Truth versus John Cena and the main event, and the winner gets to go on and fight at the next TNA pay-per-view for the TNA Championship, okay? I'm sorry. I can only do so much. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into the matches that have actually been announced. It's the Cruiserweight Championship on the line. It's Drew Gulak versus Humberto Carrillo and Lince Dorado. It's a triple threat match, which means typically the champion walks away the winner because, you know, you think it's going to change, but actually it doesn't. And also, I don't watch 205 Live, but as far as I can tell, they like Drew Gulak with the championship. In the end, I still believe Drew Gulak is going to win. They don't typically change the Cruiserweight title on, like, B-level pay-per-views. Typically, they save that for more like SummerSlam or WrestleMania, you know, huge pay-per-views. And I don't think this night will be any different. Next up is for the women's tag team titles. It's Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross versus Fire and Desire, and I don't care. Am I supposed to be caring about the women's tag team title? Am I? Vince McMahon, if you're watching this, which we all know you absolutely are, please let me know. Am I supposed to be paying attention to the women's tag team division? Alexa Bliss versus Nikki Cross. Or Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Ooh, versus Nikki Cross. That might actually be interesting for once in their lives with this tag team title. I got completely off track there. Alexa Bliss versus Nikki Cross is going to be the winners. Next up, it's the Smackdown Tag Team Championships on the line. It's the New Day versus the Revival. Now, here's the thing. I kind of want the Revival to win this. Okay, I get it. The New Day, they're amazing. They've got their pancakes, they've got their cereal boxes, they're freaking awesome. However, in the build, they have been kind of pegged as, we're injured. You know, quote-unquote injured, and I think that injury is going to cost them in the long run. I believe the Revival is going to take advantage of that, considering their whole thing is to pick apart their opponents. So something tells me the Revival are going to be leaving the champions. I don't believe many championships are going to be changed, by the way, in this card, and I think this is going to be one of the very few titles that could and probably will change hands. Following that, the Raw Tag Team Championships are going to be on the line. It's Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman versus Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. Now, I think in this matchup, they're going to try to psych us out. You know, I think they're going to expect us to think, you know, Ziggler and Roode are going to leave here because, you know, they're one of the best tag teams in WWE history. Okay, they know each other like the back of their hand. Okay, they are truly one-of-a-kind tag team. Okay, the Dudleys wishes they were like Bobby Roode, Robert Roode, whatever you want to call him, and Dolph Ziggler. Okay, they're truly amazing, but I don't think they're going to pick up the win here. I believe Seth and Braun, they're going to actually be working together. Maybe some tension is going to be building throughout the matchup, but I mean, come on. Who's going to take the pin in that match between Rollins and Strowman? If Strowman loses, then he looks weak going into the championship match later, and he's like a freaking monster, so I doubt that's going to happen. And if Rollins gets pinned, which is probably more likely out of the two, like, he's the freaking Universal Champion. You know, it just doesn't work. But I think in the end, Rollins and Strowman are going to be winning this matchup and keeping their Raw Tag Team titles. Following that, it's AJ Styles, the United States Champion, versus Cedric Alexander, and this is gonna be good. I think this might be the match that steals the show. If they give AJ and Cedric the time and recognition that they deserve in a matchup, because they've fought in the past, so they kind of know each other in ring, so they have a little bit of chemistry. But in matches I've seen between the two on the indies, oof, it was so good. It was pretty good. A little bit, it felt in that match in the indies like they had a little bit more in the tank, so hopefully from that match like years ago, maybe they'll turn that that little bit in the tank to, blow their load on Clash of Champions. That went from a tank reference to a sexual reference. I think the match is going to be good. That's what I'm trying to say. However, in the end, I think AJ Styles is going to win. I mean, I don't really see him losing the title. I think Cedric with the United States title would be really interesting, considering someone backstage, probably Paul Heyman, but someone backstage seems to definitely like Cedric Alexander. Ever since Paul Heyman took the book, he seems to have gotten more and more of like a little push. Just, he's always a background player, but he's there. He's not in catering like 90% of the freaking Raw roster. Okay, so I believe AJ Styles is going to win, however, and I think Cedric Alexander is going to look, pardon my pun, phenomenal in this matchup. Oh yeah, also AJ has the club who can just cheat for him, and yeah. Heel tactics, ooh. Next up, it's Shinsuke Nakamura versus The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. This is pretty easy. Nakamura's going to win because he's done nothing with that title at all. Like, just at all. He's done nothing. And, look, I kind of like them. I like The Miz to a degree. I don't think he needs a championship at this point. His whole gimmick kind of doesn't need any more titles. At this point in his career, if he wins a championship, it's to say, I've won the championship. Not to say, hey, I'm amazing. It won't elevate him. But keeping the championship for Nakamura, and hopefully strapping a freaking rocket to Shinsuke Nakamura that they should have done, as soon as he got onto the main roster, I think Nakamura, this title can do a lot for someone's career. It hasn't. Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura, it hasn't really done much for people's careers. But I think if they just book it right, and I know that's asking a lot from WWE, but I think this title can make Shinsuke Nakamura something. It can make him something. And I think beating The Miz could be the first real step, considering it's the only defense I can remember for Shinsuke Nakamura, at least on a pay-per-view. So yeah, Nakamura leaves the Intercontinental Champion. Following that, oh my god, there's so many matches. It's Roman Reigns versus Eric Rowan. No disqualification stipulation. I think that's an interesting stipulation. I think that's going to end up costing Eric Rowan in the long run. Because I think, and this is more of a bold prediction, I think Bryan's about to turn face again. I don't particularly want that. I think, he definitely is like, woohoo, Daniel Bryan's a cool babyface. Everybody loves him. He's super likable. But I think the fact that he has been a heel for the past year, and he's knocked it out of the park with every single thing he's been given. I still remember watching Smackdown, God, was it a year ago maybe? When he was backstage and he was talking to fans and stuff. It was so cool. And Bryan, as a heel, is pretty cool. He had the fake title and stuff. It was awesome. But I believe he might turn face, and Roman Reigns is going to get the win because of it. Bryan's going to try, and I don't know how successful he'll be, but he'll definitely try to distract Eric Rowan. That will lead into a feud. I believe it's going to lead to a matchup between Eric Rowan and Daniel Bryan on the line, so Roman Reigns, he's going to get the win. Also, Roman Reigns wins lol. Following that is the SmackDown Women's title on the line. It's Bayley versus Charlotte. Now, I think Bayley's going to win this. I think if Charlotte loses, that's a big loss for Charlotte, but it's also an even bigger win for Bayley. Although, I wouldn't put past WWE to be like, ha, Bayley, who are you? Lose your championship, young lady. But for real, I believe Bayley's going to leave champion, considering, she just turned heel. She has all this momentum. And if she loses now, I think that's just a signal of just they don't care about Bayley. And AEW should really look at Bayley and be like, do we want Bayley? So I believe, Bayley better win this. Following that, Raw Women's Championship is on the line as well. It's Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks. Now, I think Sasha Banks is going to win this. this is going to be one of the very few title changes that happens tonight. Sasha Banks, it's weird to say she has more momentum than Bayley, because Bayley just turned heel. But I think Sasha Banks, to me at least, she seems so much cooler now. You know, the heel turn, her changing the hair color, all of it was masterclass. But I do believe the thing that will turn her into like an even bigger star is to defeat Becky Lynch, to take the Raw Women's title from her. And that means we can have the Boss and Hug Connection, still a terrible name. But in the end, Bayley and Sasha Banks can both hold up the championships and say, hey, we are the women's champion. And from the women's division, we move on to the men. It is the WWE title on the line. Kofi Kingston versus Randy Orton. There's a few mindsets I have about this matchup. I think, considering, SmackDown's going to Fox in just a little bit, something tells me WWE is thinking, let's put Randy Orton as the champion. I know. I don't want it. Okay, that's not what I want. But I feel like it's gonna happen. I feel like WWE are gonna do it. Okay, they're gonna bring this young upstart, Randy Orton. They're finally gonna give him the championship. Finally. He's deserved it for so many years. Okay, no, but for real. I don't think... This is a tough one. This is a really tough one, but I think Randy Orton might just win this. Because I think they want to stretch out the feud a bit. And if Kofi Kingston wins, then that's the feud over. And honestly, I can't even think of who his next challenger would be off the top of my head. So I think it's going to be Randy Orton versus Kofi Kingston. And Randy Orton's going to be winning that matchup. Going to be taking the WWE title once again. It doesn't elevate him. It doesn't hurt him if he loses. But I don't really see where these two would even go if this feud ended here. And I think Randy Orton winning the title, it will be such a sour note. And WWE, they always love to make us hate them. And I believe Randy Orton, if he wins this, it's going to progress the feud. It's going to be like, I was right all along, blah, 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 blah. And Kofi Kingston's like, you know what? I want one more match with you. Hardcore 3 stages of hell match. Let's go at... What's the next pay-per-view? Whatever the next pay-per-view is, okay? Actually, isn't it TLC? No, TLC is December. Look, it doesn't matter. Anyways, I believe Randy Orton is leaving with the title. And now it's time for the main event matchup. It's the Universal title on the line. Seth Rollins, the champion, versus Braun Strowman, the challenger. I have some... mixed. Does anybody... I don't know. I don't particularly care about this matchup. I get it's the main event. I get that it's going to be interesting to see this. But something tells me Bray Wyatt's going to do something. If he's going to do anything, it's going to happen in this matchup. He's been teasing it and teasing it and teasing it. The fact that he wants the Universal title. The fact that he makes so much money so that he should be champion. The fact that, he keeps saying, see you in hell. Hell in a Cell is right around the corner. That's the next pay-per-view that I forgot the name of. So I believe Bray Wyatt's going to do something. But will he cost anybody the match? I don't think so. I don't really see a reason for him to cost anyone in the match. I think it's more going to be a case of one of these two men win the match, win the Universal title, or leave with the Universal title again. And then Bray Wyatt just going to like... Or wait, he doesn't do that. He does the weird little... ha 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 laugh. But I think Bray Wyatt doing that to Braun Strowman with the Sister Abigail or the Claw or whatever it does, I think that's going to look really silly. So I think in the end, Seth Rollins might just win. Somehow. I don't know how. I can't quite think about it. Everything in my head is telling me Braun Strowman's probably going to win this, but I'm taking a chance because I see Seth Rollins versus Bray Wyatt. I can see that happening at Hell in a Cell. And I think Braun Strowman winning the title kind of dampens the fact that Seth Rollins has had a pretty shitty reign. So I think if Rollins... Also, then what? If Bray Wyatt fights in a Hell in a Cell against Braun Strowman, that means Strowman would probably only have a 1-month, title reign. Well, whereas Rollins, if he loses the title to Bray Wyatt means so much more because his reign has been so long. So, in the end, I think Rollins is going to be winning this one. But yeah, those are my predictions for Clash of Champions 2019. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments below. Who do you think is going to win? Who do you think is going to be leaving champion? Do you even care? I kind of don't. But whatever. Anyways, if you guys like this video, please let me know by hitting the like button down below. Comment anything you want to. Comment, subscribe if you haven't already. But if you have, why not hit the bell to be notified of everything we do here on the Bad Wrestling channel. I am, of course, Dominic, and have a good day from Bad Wrestling.